Doesn't that song just feel like summer? Like, there's just some songs that just feel like they are meant for the season. And this is definitely one of them, okay? This is definitely To Live and Die in L.A. by Wang Chung. Now, Wang Chung is a terrible name for any music group. Just throwing that out there. I feel like this song would get a lot more play if not for their name. But unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. So, Wang Chung, To Live and Die in L.A. And I was thinking about music in general of just being a seasonal thing. Like, there are certain songs that you hear at a certain time of the season that pull you in and you're like, oh, that is such a good fall song, or that's such a good song for the summer. And that's definitely one that makes me think of summer. And, you know, as we hit the beginning of August, going into September, just to kind of really push forward the whole thing. Like, summer's still here. We still got time. It's not over yet, okay? People get excited. And Jen Tan, I'm really sorry to do this to you, okay? But I have a request from the listeners. I know we do the whole Friday, you know, all request Friday thing. Jen, how do you know how many songs we have for all request Friday right now? Do you, like, just off the top of your...
Sorry, I have to.
You have to look. Is it more than 10? Is it more than 11?
No.
No, not more than 10 or 11?
Less.
Okay. Get rid of all of them. Okay, save them for another time, because this is what I want from listeners today. I want your songs of the summer. I want the song that you think of when summer is here, like that it just feels like summer. Okay, Jen, okay, just because I feel so bad, I will let you choose one as well. Okay, because I know it's like a whole bunch of work pulling the music and getting it all ready for tomorrow. But that is my request from everyone today, because I want to feel summer. Okay, I want to feel it through music, and this is honestly just actually a ploy to get some new music, because I'm kind of in a music rut. Like, I just keep listening to the same thing over and over and over again. And I need something fresh, okay? I need something new. So give it to me. So all request Fridays.
Call back again.
Good. All request Friday tomorrow. I want your songs of summer. If you've called in with a song for the Farwell show, it's gone until next week. Okay? I'm sorry. I want songs of summer. Give them to me for tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much. I'm saying thank you already, okay? But that's what I want from all the listeners today. Songs of summer, songs that make you feel like summer. Just give it to me, okay? Thank you. Thank you very much. A lot of things in the news this morning. I mean, we're going to go over some of them here, but 100 days for Prime Minister Mark Carney. We have a guest coming up at 9:15 just talking about that. And what kind of grade would you give Carney right now? I mean, it's been 100 days. Is that too soon to give him a grade? I mean, he's been dealing with a lot, so... It's kind of one of those things where trial by fire for sure. I don't think he probably saw all of this coming to this extent. I mean, the thing is, like, he has no power over the situation. So now it's just him dealing with the situation whenever it's given to him. And I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like, how has he reacted to it? How has he put forward his plan? Like, do you think he has a clear plan? Is he doing well enough to, you know, to right the ship and get us through all this? Because I mean, right now it's kind of feels like it's all in the air still. So, you know, this morning, as you heard on 570 News Radio morning show, Christine Clark and Luke Schultz this morning, a portion of the Wilmot land could be used for AI data centers. I mean, I can't think of anything more juxtaposition than going from farmland to AI data centers. I mean, they're farming for different things, but it's just such a crazy flip to go from one of those to, you know, to the other. The company Q-Scale from Quebec could be investing as much as $4 billion into the region with this move. So, you know, just great on the news team in there this morning, just getting that news, because that is hot off the presses right there. And one of my favorite stories, I don't know if you know, Victoria Mboko last night, she has kind of come out of nowhere and is just winning over and over and over again at this National Bank Open. And last night she took down the number 12, and now she goes from being ranked outside of the 300, this Canadian tennis player. You know, we've seen Andreescu and stuff do this before, but she's now in the finals, which will be tonight at 6 p.m. on Sportsnet. She ran the gauntlet. And now we have a Canadian in the finals of this major tennis championship. And last night after winning, I mean, I got to say, there's something about her. I'm just like, you're going to win this. I don't know what it is, but I mean, she's taking on Naomi Osaka. Like, it's a big task, okay? Like, Naomi is a extremely good tennis player, but there's just something about her, just something about Victoria and Balco.
It's been a crazy night for me. For my first ever final, of a 1,000, it's unbelievable to even think about it. And I'm just really happy to be here and just to celebrate it with all the Canadian fans that came to watch. So yeah, just 18 years old, from Toronto, ran the gauntlet, now in the finals for this tennis open. This is a much watched, like it's a must watch tonight for me. I have to see how she does. I think the momentum, she's just got it. And I can't wait to see how she does tonight. So that will be on tonight at Sportsnet, 6 p.m. No Jays tonight. That will be back tomorrow where they play the Dodgers. So Blue Jays, Dodgers, that'll be fun tomorrow. That's for sure. Can't wait to see two of the top teams in baseball play each other. I don't think I would be saying that about the Blue Jays at this time this year, but it is true. They are just running the table in baseball. So it'll be a fun matchup if you can stay up that late, 10:30 p.m. start for tomorrow for the Blue Jays. I know, late game. Maybe take a nap, after work or something. That might be a good idea. But coming up just after the break, we'll be talking to Julie Simmons just to get her kind of grasp on the first 100 days of Mark Carney in office and just get her perspective on how he's doing so far. You're listening to 570 News Radio and watching on Rogers TV.
This is where today's topics turn into today's talking points. It's local and it's Democratic radio at its finest. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio.
Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready to stand up for Canada with me? And who's ready? Who's ready to build Canada strong?
Canada's new government has a strong mandate to get big things built faster. That means millions of more homes, major new ports, new trade corridors, new energy projects. And as we build bigger and faster, we will build Canadian, prioritizing Canadian lumber, Canadian steel, Canadian aluminum in Canadian construction.
The Mike Farwell Show continues
on 570 News Radio.
Prime Minister Mark Carney there talking about, well, you heard his victory speech after becoming Prime Minister and the latest tariff battle that he's fighting with softwood lumber and all that fun stuff that's going on right now with the U.S. So let's actually get an expert on this because I need to hear from them. Julie Simmons, Associate Professor, Department of Political Science, University of Guelph, looking over those first 100 days of Mark Carney in office. Julie, how are you this morning?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm going to ask you straight out, what grade would you give Mark Carney right now?
Well, it would depend if we had a rubric to judge him by or if we were grading him relative to other prime ministers in the past. But I think what we can say is, he's definitely getting an A for action. And I think depending on where your listeners stand on the ideological spectrum, they might give him a little lower or stay with the A in terms of what those actions mean for them as voters.
Do you feel that this is an impossible situation with him and Trump right now?
It's definitely a tricky one. Canada's in a very good position in the sense that the vast majority of our trade with the United States is not affected by the tariffs that Donald Trump, keeps raising. We have an agreement in place, the CUSMA agreement, which it's really only about 5% of our trade with the United States that is actually impacted. And unfortunately, it's things like softwood lumber and aluminum, which are big industries. But, I think that the strategy that Carney's using right now is to wait and not to jump into an agreement because at the end of the day, much of our economy is protected from those really devastating tariffs that are impacting other countries in ways that they're not impacting Canada.
Do you think Carney's done a good job of trying to basically expand Canada's trade? I mean, I know trade deals take a long time to kind of come together, but do you think that he should be pressing more to get those deals done right now? Or is this kind of just a wait and see to actually what is going on with him and the U.S.?
I think it's hard to not be all consumed with the United States, given the nature of the leader, and Canada does have free trade agreements, with Europe, with all kinds of other countries around the world already. In terms of major markets for some of our industrial products and also natural resources, there can be focus there, but it's really hard to buy off the big discussion that's happening south of the border.
Looking at Mexico, the envoy is going there to go kind of sort out some maybe new trade deals or just ways that they can work better together. Now, I'm looking at trade with Mexico as a positive thing, but is there any way that it could be stifled by the fact that the U.S. is right in the middle of it?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not an expert on trade routes, but it does seem like if there is ground transportation, that might prove to be, a major obstacle.
I'm just wondering, with Mark Carney, he's done a lot of talking about the U.S. and tariffs, but has there anything else that he's done in the last 100 days that has kind of defined him?
Well, I think he's done a lot of things. For example, in defense spending, he had campaigned on a promise to meet Canada's NATO spending target by the end of this decade, a good 5 years away. And he's already saying that he'll get to the 2% of GDP this fiscal year. So that is an enormous increase in defense spending. We have changed we have the Strong Borders Act, which also includes lots of new powers to different bodies and is an attempt to respond to concerns about fentanyl, but it also has dramatically changed our refugee system so that after 1 year, those that are planning or have filed refugee claims, they go through a different process now, which limits their opportunities to appear in person before a board and also appeal those decisions. He's increased the national child benefit. He's expanded the dental plan that Canadians without insurance have been able to utilize. So, there is a lot that he has done in terms of, both making life more comfortable for Canadians in terms of the expansion, a little bit of social policy, but then also making, a lot of promises to bring Canada as a G7 country to a point where it might be able to do a bit more of its own defense. And we've also made commitments, recently to the Golden Dome plan of Trump. And, for a long time, certainly since Paul Martin was prime minister, we have had restrictions on air and missile defense in Canada. And now, we've removed those, or at least Carney's, some of his cabinet ministers have explained that those are no longer going to be in place. So, in terms of activity, there's been a lot of activity, and that's why I'd give him an A. But again, depending on, one's perspective as to whether you think that we have made too many spending promises or, many of your voters and might be wondering where is all the money coming from to pay for all of these commitments like the defense spending and the expansion of social policy. And that's, a very good question. And so that might change their grade that they would give the prime minister on his first 100 days.
Good point. Yeah. Here's one thing that gets me with Carney, and maybe you can dive into this a little bit. I don't view Carney as a liberal. I see him more as a centrist. Now, I don't know exactly if that's true or if that's exactly, what he is, but he does liberal things, but he also does conservative things with his defense spending. I'm just wondering where you fit him. Like, what box does he fit in for you, like, looking at it?
Well, I think that there are a lot of things that he borrowed from the Conservative Party in terms of actions, like, for example, the canceling of the carbon tax. But in Canada, we have, had a tradition of both political parties borrowing from each other. And oftentimes we elect Liberal governments that seem more conservative than they are Liberal. And one only needs to think of the fact that it was under Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin that Canada's national budget was balanced in the late 1990s. And then when Stephen Harper became prime minister, it was unbalanced and we were running deficits again. So, there are a lot of things that Carney is doing that definitely make him look definitely more sort of on the right side of the political spectrum. But he's not an outlier in this regard because we do have this kind of borrowing of ideas and piecing together things that will make for a winning coalition in Canada by both of our major political parties. And I think about, Stephen Harper's massive investment in infrastructure projects across Canada when he was, and I mean like little infrastructure projects across Canada, not the major ones that Carney's talking about right now. But he spent a tremendous amount of money on those. And it was at a time when we were trying to get out of, a recessionary kind of environment around 2009. So, I think you're absolutely bang on when you say that there's some things that might be making people scratch their head and say, is this person really part of the Liberal Party? But, when we look at it with that historical lens, it's certainly not out of the realm of normal activity.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Julie, for joining us this morning. I mean, it's great perspective. I mean, one thing I didn't really think about until you said it was all the defense spending. I mean, it feels like it's becoming a little bit more vitally important than it was before.
Yeah, it is interesting because one thing that Carney did say during the election was that he wanted to make us less dependent on the United States for our own, protection and, protection of our sovereignty. But, we have now committed to this Golden Dome, which seems to be further embedding our relationship with the United States in terms of our own defense. So we'll have to see how that unfolds. It seems like there's an awful lot of spending that's being promised, both, by Carney to Canadians, but also, essentially he's speaking to Donald Trump with some of these announcements. And we'll have to see what this means for the budget going forward because it seems like somehow the money has to come from somewhere.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Julie.
Oh, my pleasure.
That was Julie Simmons. That was Associate Professor, Department of Political Science. Political Science, not science. Like, come on, Colin. Political Science, University of Guelph, and just talking about Mark Carney's first 100 days in office. And I got to think that the defense spending has become such a big part of this now where it could be his defining action. So I think I would give him like a B right now. It just seems that there's a lot going on and still up in the air, and I need to see a little bit more. But we're going to hit the break, and we'll come back. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. I'm so sorry, News Center. Let's get to you right now. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. What a pro Christine is. Thank you so much, Christine. I am so sorry. I was late to news. I just got so wrapped up in my conversation. It was just, that's what happens. You just start talking and you can't stop. Speaking of talking and not stopping, let's head on to our next segment. Lana Parker, Associate Professor, Faculty of Education, University of Windsor. I know back to school is coming up, and a lot of money goes into getting kids back in the classroom. And I mean, it's just like pencils and erasers and books and all these things that you must have. But the cost of it has become astronomical. Lana Parker, I'm just wondering from you, should parents be shouldering all this weight, or should schools be providing some of these things themselves?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So I think that the global issue is that parents are becoming responsible for fees and fundraising and for classroom supplies more and more because school boards, unfortunately, have been put in a position where they're not receiving adequate funds from the province. And so they are, restricting their budget, making cuts when they can, and that some of these costs are showing up in parents' finances in back to school.
Do you think that, we could throw money at this problem, but do you think there's another way around it?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Historically, school boards financing, especially over the last number of years, has seen reductions. So even though the government will say that they've never spent more, we know that, for example, through the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives report, Catching Up Together, that even increases to provincial funding actually amount to inflationary cuts because the money is, I'm sure your listeners can sympathize with this, the money is just not going as far. Things have become more expensive. And so school boards are in a position where they are trying to make do and meet the needs of the children and families in their community as best as possible with essentially underfunding, lower amounts from the province, which is, of course, translating to pressure on parents to step up and to provide fundraising dollars to individual schools so that they can have and make up things like cuts to materials, school libraries, music programs, class trips, etc.
Do you think that parents should be shouldering this burden at all, or is it way past that point? I mean, not every family that goes to a school is like the same in terms of how much money they make. Is this one of those things that we just need? It's a necessity now.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And you're raising a very important point, which is that not all families can afford to contribute school fees and contribute to fundraising, which is why it is so important for us to have robust, sustainable public education funding so that, for example, when I was a student in Ontario schools, I was able to pursue learning a musical instrument. I'm aging myself a little bit here, but I was taking home ec classes in classrooms that had materials for it. I got to learn in the wood shop in a space that had materials for it. And over the years, because schools have lost so much in the way of funding, what has happened is that you're right. It means unequal opportunities for different students. And if you are a family that is living in an area where the fundraising for your school is a little bit less, perhaps, the equipment and materials in that school wouldn't be as available to all students as they would have been in years past. And that, I think, sometimes parents and families don't see that. They think that some of the things that were available for them when they were children are probably still around, and we don't see those absences and losses as clearly. But the educators in my study, which I talk about in the article in the conversation and which I link to, are really clear in communicating their distress over the loss that's taken place over the last number of years to school materials, to school programming, and their distress that they're increasingly being asked to turn to parent fundraising or even to private sector fundraising to make up the difference.
Interesting. So the private sector fundraising, how exactly does that work?
Yeah, it's a bit sketchy at the moment. The conversations I was having with the educators, highly experienced educators in my study, people who've been in the system for 10, 20, 30 years even, when they are talking and going to school board meetings, for example, one of them talked about the fact that they were hoping to build a playground for the children at their school. And that their school board had been encouraging them to seek private sector donations in order to do that. And so what we see there is not just community fundraising through, tapping parents and asking them to step up to make up for these shortfalls that the province is no longer funding, but we also see some pressure to turn to big companies And in my report as well, some of the educators talked about, even with things like extracurricular activities, big companies coming in, being pressured to kind of give these school contracts for uniforms to companies that are, going to have these kind of relationships with the schools and the school boards. And historically, this was not the case. Historically, these would have been expenditures that were accounted for within a school board's budget and provided for by the province so that all children could have these opportunities equally.
Do you think we're getting like step by step closer to maybe like this classroom is brought to you by Subway?
Well, I hope not. I still have a lot of hope and faith in our citizens and in our parent community advocacy. I think that if people are curious, when they get those fundraising letters, I'd encourage them to read my piece in the conversation, to read the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives report, Catching Up Together, and to learn a bit more about this issue, and then to get in touch with their MPP and say, look, education is important to us in Ontario. It's a public good that we value, and we expect robust funding for it so that these opportunities for our young people will continue to be there in the years to come.
Why do you think it's been so hard to get funding for schools in the last however so years? Is it just other pressures in other sectors, or is it just kind of one of those things where, all the schools are built and we're just going to put kids in there and they're just going to learn whatever they can learn?
Yeah, schools are interesting, right? And on the one hand, it's a bit of a black box because I think that parents and families don't necessarily know what's happening in the buildings, and teachers and educators aren't necessarily at liberty to say, hey, our school is underfunded, because they're employees of the school board. So I think that it's a lack of awareness, and also I think it's a bit of historical memory and nostalgia. For those of us who did go to Ontario schools that in the decades past, maybe we have fond recollections of the things that we were able to experience, and we might just rely on that to think that those are still available. But the reality of schools today is quite different. And so I think that there's perhaps a lack of real understanding how badly schools have been underfunded, especially in recent years. And I think that it's difficult to drum up the kind of necessary political will that's needed to ask our politicians and our members of government to make this an important part of their planning process and an important part of the provincial budget when there's not enough necessarily awareness of some of the constraints that school boards are facing.
What could be done in this calendar year that would make things astronomically better if there was just no strings attached?
More funding.
Just straight up. Just if the school boards just got more money, everything would be fixed immediately.
No, but that would be the first step. The first step would be to, and there have been recommendations for what needs to be done. So I'll refer again to the CCP report just because it's really comprehensive. They have a list of items that would make a substantial difference to kids' education today. And some of them include, stepping up the funding for things like the $17 billion infrastructure backlog. A lot of our schools, as you said, were built a while ago. Some of them are not in good repair, and they have been waiting on school repairs for a long time. So, yes, more money for infrastructure funding, that's one of the ways that would improve things right away. More funding would also allow for more robust retention of staff for example, special education programs. We know that that's an area that has come under has been underserviced due to underfunding, and it would immediately help the situation there. But, it's not a question of just throwing money at the problem. We have to be careful about how those funds are allocated. But I want to be clear with the listeners, too, that we know what steps to take. So if there were funds available, and if the education budget was extended in the way that us education advocates are asking for, there are recommendations to substantiate where those funds would go, and that would have an impact on children's lives immediately.
Well, thank you very much, Lana, for joining me today and this subject. I mean, it just seems like one of those things that you keep banging your head against the wall. We just need more funding so we can teach these kids properly.
Yeah, we're going to keep advocating. Our kids and our public education system are our proud inheritance, and we want the very best for them for the future. Thanks for having me on, Colin.
Thank you, Lana. That was Lana Parker. That is Associate Professor, Faculty of Education at the University of Windsor. And, this is what drives me up the wall, is that, you have kids, you send them to schools, and it's true, like, when you just send them into these schools, you're handing your most important asset to whoever is at their whim in there. And if it's not being properly funded, what are we teaching these kids? Don't we want our children to be smart and then successful and then, maybe help provide something positive to their community and grow up and get a job, make money, and maybe become politicians themselves or teachers themselves? It just seems like the cycle at the beginning now has become so degraded that, and it's not the fault of the teachers at all, but we need to be setting these kids up for success so they can be at least good human beings. And I just feel like it's fallen by the wayside just because maybe we just don't know to the extent of just how bad things have become in school systems. Maybe this is just one of those things that, we need to have a closer look in and to make sure that these kids are getting provided everything that they need to be successful now and later in life. But, that takes money and time. So do we have the money and time to do it? And that's the real question. So, great. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about this. I'm Colin Robertson for Mike Farwell. This is 570 News, Radio, and Rogers TV.
Over the years, because schools have lost so much in the way of funding, what has happened is that it means unequal opportunities for different students. And if you are a family that is living in an area where the fundraising for your school is a little bit less, perhaps the equipment and materials in that school wouldn't be as available to all students as they would have been in years past.
That was Lana Parker, Associate Professor, Faculty of Education at the University of Windsor, talking about back to school requirements for parents fundraising now because things have become so expensive and it seems like government doesn't want to provide enough funding to these school boards and able to give the kids what they need to succeed. And it's one of those things where she talked a little bit about the private side of this. Like, are we going to be eventually leaning into schools having to be taking money from corporations to the point where, she said it was a little bit, weird, but it's one of those things where you got to get the money from somewhere. Like, you just have to. So it seems like at any means possible right now, it's kind of become the Wild West of funding for our school system. So we're taking calls on this. You can call us at star 570 or 519-570-2545. Mike, you're on with Colin. How are you doing today?
Hello, Colin. I'm going to respectfully disagree with you and that professor on a number of points. First of all, I had a learning disability when I was younger. I didn't learn how to read till I was in grade 5 or 6. The public school system at that time and the separate school system did not help me. It was my parents sending me to a private tutor. And without being sent there, there would be no Bachelor of Science or MBA degrees. Now, school boards right now in Ontario are their own worst enemies. They have misspent dollars, according to audits, gone on trips. They have lost their way. We had a DEI class where a principal committed suicide. We had Mr. Big Breast. We had all these things here. So I think the public has lost faith in school boards, even our own one. If you watch or attend one of their meetings, well, we have the grade 8 and the 3 people who oppose them all the time, and they have stickers on their thing with the latest DEI. They're not focused on education, in my opinion. Yes, I believe that funding is required in some places, but there also has to be significant reform because we pay per capita, used to pay per capita, one of the highest in the world. We have the best paid teachers, et cetera, and so forth. So I would expect different results than what we're currently getting, Colin. And that's my thoughts.
Okay, Mike, let me ask you one question. So, I mean, I don't want to age you, but so you had a learning disability with reading until grade 5. You got pulled out of the system. Do you think now we have more knowledge of those things because we have gone through and done scientific studies and stuff to basically learn more about how learning disabilities affect children? I'm sorry that it didn't work for you when you were younger, but do you think that now we have enough?
No, I don't, because this learning disability right now is in our, it runs in our family, and the special eds and everybody else really don't give the proper one-on-one that you needed. In fact, what I needed, I couldn't read till grade 5 or 6, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So I believe that, yes, probably some special eds and stuff like that, but do you get the one-on-one to fix what I had? No. I have a cousin with the same children, have the same issues that I do, and they're to get training or the minimum, they didn't. And again, my parents at that time, way back when, spent $4,400 on me in the 1970s to make sure that I was learned how to read and everything else. So it was a great turnaround for me. Mr. Bruce Swift from Grand River Collegiate, who was my and one-on-one tutor.
Oh. Okay, I think we lost Mike. But yeah, I mean, that's one-on-one time that you would hope to get from a teacher. I mean, even at any system. I mean, I'm glad that things were worked out for you, Mike. It's one of those things, but, you know, maybe that one-on-one time should have been provided by schools, and maybe getting, you know, specialized teachers in there that can help with that would have saved your parents a whole lot of money into, you know, not having to pay that money to do it. So it is a bit of a double-edged sword there. But we're going to hit a break and then we'll come back. I'm Colin Robertson for Mike Farwell. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Let's get you to the 570 News Radio News Center. I'm Colin Robertson, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. And for Mike Farwell today, I am Colin Robertson. Lots of topics to go through today. I mean, I'm excited about some of them, and these ones are loosely connected with each other. But we'll start off with the first one. Stargazing. What can we see in the night skies this month? I mean, I feel like this might be a very good time for stargazing, even though maybe our guest will kind of fill us in. It might be a little bit more difficult with the wildfires and the smoke and stuff. And that's going to be my first question for them. This is Orbax, Science Communicator, Department of Physics with the University of Guelph. Orbax, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you this morning, Colin?
I'm great. So yeah, this is my first question because stargazing is such a cool experience. It's one of the most amazing things when you have a clear night and you can see everything. But I'm just wondering how much the wildfire smoke has played with that.
Oh, it's terrible. This is the thing is, I've spent the last 3 or 4 years, really since COVID, actively trying to engage our communities in stargazing with all the incredible things that are taking place in our night skies. But between the weather that we have in this part of Ontario and now the wildfire smokes, it can be tough at times.
Oh, so all things considered, is this like the best time of year for stargazing, or is it a little bit later into the fall?
Well, it's touch and go. The summertime is great because you often have prior to the wildfires, you often have very clear night skies, even though they're shorter. The issue with the summertime is that you've got to stay up so much later. You know, you're not getting these nice dark skies till 10, 11 p.m. That's why August is kind of a great time, because our sunsets are decreasing in terms of the time we expect for the sun to go down, and we start to get to see things a little bit earlier on. And, you know, it depends. Do you want to stay up till 10 p.m. in the summertime when it's nice out, or do you want to go out at 6 p.m. in the winter when you're freezing to take a look?
I'm going to pick the summertime one.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we are able to get a clear night, what exactly are we seeing right now? Where's directionally, where are we pointed at?
Well, what's happening right now, which is always pretty exciting, is we're coming up next week on the 12th is the peak of the biggest meteor shower that we'll get all year, which is the Perseids meteor shower. And this takes place over the course of from now until about August 24th. But the peak is the night of the 12th. And it's the biggest meteor shower of the year, yielding up to 60 meteors an hour.
Wow, that seems like quite a lot of meteors.
It is, and so if we get an opportunity to get a clear sky, basically any time between now and the end of August, you've got a chance to make a wish on one of those shooting stars.
Now, how visible will they be if we do get a clear night as compared to if there is some haze?
Well, basically you're going to have to wait till around midnight to take a look, midnight and into the early morning. And they should be pretty visible. They'll be coming out of the northeast. It's named the Perseids because the radiant, which is what we call the source of where it looks like the meteors are coming from in the sky, is going to be the constellation Perseus. And so if you look into the northeast towards the constellation Perseus, you should be able to see these streaking about. But honestly, they'll be visible kind of anywhere in the sky.
Okay, do you need a telescope, or is this one of those things where you can...
No. This is literally something you can go out on your backyard, lay on the deck with your kids, and just take a look up and take a gander. The only issue that the full moon is on the 9th this year, or this month, which means it's actually going to be pretty close to the peak of the meteor shower. And the brighter it is, i.e. if the full moon is out and nice and bright, it might obscure some of the dimmer meteors. But they should still be bright enough. There should to see them.
Okay, and in terms of planets, are there any planets that are a little bit brighter this time of year?
Yeah, so Saturn is coming back into our evening skies. So later in the evening, maybe an hour or two after sunset, you should be able to see Saturn. But right now, the morning, right before sunrise, is the best part. You'll be able to see Venus and Saturn. They'll almost be side by side. And on the morning of the 12th, actually the same day as the peak of the Perseids, on the morning of the 12th, they'll be so close together that they'll look like these two bright, shining beacons in your early morning sky, about an hour before sunrise. So like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Oh, that's fun. Let me ask you, where did your interest in space stem from?
Well, you know, I'm a science communicator for the Department of Physics here at the University of Guelph, and I remember being a kid last century, back in the 1980s. I know, it's wild, right? You think this 20-year-old man, how was he alive back then? But I'm actually older than that. I remember being a kid then and just being out on the farm and sitting with my family and looking up at the sky and just wondering what was out there, you know. But as a science... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything. You're all good.
Oh, sorry, but as a science communicator, you know, I'm always trying to look for a way to engage people of all ages with science and with STEM. And I'd be hard-pressed to meet somebody who hasn't looked up in the sky and wondered what's going on. And with the way that technology has exploded in the last 10 years, with our increase in images that we get from space with space telescopes like the James Webb, I think it's always a thing that's just evergreen in terms of people's interests. And for me, if we can get people talking about science in any way, it's steps in the right direction.
Speaking of that digital age, do you think that, those stargazing apps, are those legitimate? Is there one that is better than the rest of them?
They're the best. I mean, all of them are pretty good, and there's lots of free ones that you can get. The great thing about those stargazing apps is that they use the built-in directional abilities of your phone. So, I mean, you can just hold them up to the sky, aim them at, north, south, east, or west, and try to see what you can see. And the nice thing about it is that, I don't know about you, but I've long forgotten how to use a compass in terms of orienting myself in terms of direction. But it does let you makes it easier for you to do things like find where the North Star is, see where the moon should be in the sky, spot the ecliptic, which is the invisible line in the sky along which all the planets lie, and actually key in on these things a little faster than we might have in the old days.
Cool. I'm just wondering, what is your favorite fun fact about space? Is there something that you can teach me right now that's like a fun fact I can just spit out whenever I want?
Well, I mean, there's always the classic that it takes 8 minutes for light to get from the sun to the earth. So if, say, for some reason the sun were to explode, then you wouldn't know until 8 minutes later.
Oh, great. That's perfect.
So that's always a fun one.
Okay, I'm going to keep that one in my back pocket. For sure.
Good. It's a great party killer. If you want to stop people having a good time, you can talk about the heat death of the universe.
Boy, do I ever love doing that. Okay, well, I mean, do you have like any social media that we can follow you on? Do you do a lot of like a lot of space stuff?
If you go to the Guelph Physics Instagram or the Guelph Physics YouTube page, I put out monthly stargazing guides for our region. So my whole thing was during COVID, I started getting back into looking at the night sky and stargazing because, it was a night. I had nothing to do the next morning, so I could stay up all night. And I was always getting online, and you'd find out the next day, I just missed Waterloo's biggest meteor sighting, or, hey, did you see that lunar eclipse last night? And that always bugged me. So what I started doing was at the beginning of every month, I put out a monthly stargazing guide saying, these are the things in our region that you'll have the opportunity to see this month. And I try to cram a little bit of science in there as well and a little bit of physics so that people kind of learn something. So if you go to the Guelph Physics YouTube page, you can see our monthly stargazing guides and subscribe. And those come out at the beginning of every month, and they tell you things that we'll be able to see here.
Okay, well, excellent. Thank you very much, Orbax, for your time.
No problem, and have a science-tastic day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much. Yeah. That was Orbax, science communicator, Department of Physics for the University of Guelph. Space fascinates me and terrifies me all at the same time. Like that fact about light hitting Earth 8 minutes after it projects, so if the sun were to explode, we wouldn't know for 8 minutes is one of those things that just terrifies me about space. It's such an unknown past our solar system. And I mean, like there's so much space out there in space. Who would have thought? I mean, I guess it is in the name. All right. Well, as we were saying, I'm Colin Robertson in for Mike Farwell today. You're listening to 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. No Mike Farwell today. It's me, Colin Robertson, sitting in for the great Mike Farwell. And I just want to say that thanks to Orbax for, giving me all that space knowledge that is now in my brain. So I really appreciate it. I love learning things about space and, how light will hits us every 8 seconds. So if the sun exploded, we wouldn't know for at least 8 minutes. It was 8 minutes or 8 seconds? It was 8 minutes, wasn't it? It was 8 minutes. Yeah. 8 seconds would be too fast. Too fast. Faster than light. 8 minutes. Great. Perfect. I wanted to shorten that time because of how terrifying it was, I guess, subconsciously there. But as we were talking about earlier at the beginning of the show, I threw out all the Friday request songs, okay? I'm not apologizing for it. It happened. They're gone, okay? But I want your requests, but there is something I want from them, okay? So I want requests to the show for songs for tomorrow to be summer songs that make you think of summer, songs that make you feel summer. I started off the show with To Live and Die in L.A. by Wang Chung. And I don't know what it is about that song, if it's just the 80s beat, but that it feels like a hot summer's night. It's just incredible, just that feeling that it gives you. So I'm looking for things like that. Like I want summer songs. Selfishly, it's because I need more music. I need new music to listen to because I'm in a complete music rut right now, and I need something new to listen to. Okay, I can't keep listening to the same 20 songs right now. It's driving me insane. Okay, like it keeps happening, and I can't stop it. So please make a request for tomorrow, the Songs of Summer playlist. Okay, we're going to do it. We're going to build it together. Okay, you're going to help me out with it. So thank you very much for that. Also in the news today, this morning, as you heard on 570 News Radio with Christine Clark and Lou Schultz, the Wilmot Land Assembly may have another tenant, because it seems like in an email, this Quebec company, database company, is reportedly interested in building a high-density AI data center on the land. They're working on a $4 billion investment to expand it into our province. That is a big deal. And I can't think of anything more reflecting of the times, from going from far land to a data center, like possibly. So lots of things to talk about. After the 10:30, we're going to be talking some movies. I don't know if I don't want to give it away, but there's a movie that just came out on Prime. And right now it has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, usually it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, it's just some random movie, but it's actually a remake of a movie. And it has a few big stars in it. So it's just one of those things where how did this get made? And how did this get made, really? Because it's one of those things where I find it fascinating when a movie is so bad, because when something gets so bad, it's almost like you have to watch it to be part of this whole experience of just bashing it. And so we're going to be talking to a critic about how this movie came to be and what their thoughts and feelings are on it, because is it an abomination, the movie making everywhere, or is it going to be a cult classic that will ultimately stand the test of time like The Room? So we'll see. It'll be a lot of fun. But we're going to hit a quick break. But you want to call in and talk about whatever? Maybe make a song suggestion. We can do that. Star 570 519 570 2545. We can talk more after this break. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Rogers TV.
See, this song has a bit of a summer feel to it. This is Donna Summer, Bad Girls. You know, it's just one of those things where it's just such a nice thing. By the way, thank you so much for everyone calling in and getting your summer songs in, because it's going to be a lot of fun to listen to all of them tomorrow and kind of be surprised by them. I'll of course play my favorite summer song, and we'll go from there. But appreciate it, all the listeners out there, just getting your summer songs in for tomorrow. I want to talk quickly a little bit more about Mboko and her run at the Open. It's just one of those things where an 18-year-old coming out of nowhere from a Canadian, out of nowhere, to just run the table, get to the finals. That's going to be tonight on Sportsnet at 6, and going up against Naomi Osaka. It's going to be it's David and Goliath, really. And it's just going to be such an important moment in sports history. Like, it was the same thing with Andreescu when she came up and made her incredible run. It's going to be definitely a moment in Canadian sports history. I can't wait to see how it plays out. I'm not very knowledgeable in tennis. I think there's a ball involved, but I do know that rackets are involved. So I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait to see how she does. She has already made Canada proud, and it's one of those things where no matter what plays out tonight, she goes from outside of the ranks of, she was like over 300, and she moves into basically the 30s. So a huge jump for her, and watching her career from this point is going to be just an exciting thing to watch. I can't wait for it. Just going over the show, just a few things that are coming up. Going to be talking movies, and maybe one of the worst movies ever made. That's coming up at 10:30. Then at 11, we're going to be talking about old oak trees. There are some beautiful old trees in this region that I've seen, and it's just such an incredible feat. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but to have all this nature around you, and to have it so established is just, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to look at. I always think of those giant trees in California, just how beautiful those forests are. So, it's great. And the fact that we're going to be planting at least 10,000 trees more to get off the ground just to, build those kind of forests that we need for the future in the parks and the green space. It's a great thing to strive towards. After that, we'll be talking about Bluesfest, fundraiser concert, and then Flipside. And the Flipside topic today, I just want you to think about it right now, but on the flip side at 11:30, what's the most valuable thing you've lost? Because I have lost something extremely valuable, and it makes me sad when I think about it. But we're going to head over to the 570 News Center right now and get a news update from the news team. You're listening to 570 News Radio and watching on Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. In for Mike Farwell, I'm Colin Robertson. And we're going to talk some movies. Now, I've seen some bad movies. I've only ever in my life walked out of one movie. But I started seeing clips a few days ago about a new movie being released on Amazon Prime. And it's an adaptation of War of the Worlds, starring Ice Cube and Eva Longoria. Now, when I started watching these clips, I immediately thought, is this a movie? Like, what is actually going on here? And surprisingly enough, yeah, it's actually a real movie that is being shown, that was filmed, and I still can't believe it got made. And to talk about this right now, I am joined by Chris Langford, podcast host, movie reviewer of How'd You Like That Movie? Chris, how are you this morning? Have you watched this yet?
Good morning, Colin. I'm great, except for the fact that I had to watch a absolutely awful film to get ready for this show. So other than that, I'm great. Thank you. And the show is the How'd You Like That Movie podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube.
Perfect. Chris, just for people who don't know, this is another adaptation of War of the Worlds, but a bit of a spin on it.
Yeah, by spin, if you mean the only part of this that I think goes anywhere close to the H.G. Wells is that there's aliens. I don't know. I understand why you would call it War of the Worlds, simply because there's an IP, and then so people go and watch this film. But it's not a good adaptation. Like the 2005 film that had Tom Cruise in it, it was directed by Spielberg, has like a John Williams score. That thing had a $132 million budget. It's this big, expansive film. This was like watching like a Zoom call for 96 minutes or something, 89 minutes with a bunch of ads at the beginning. The actual way they call this, it's called Screen Life. It's basically a film that's shot through the computer screen. So you're watching Ice Cube, who's supposed to be like an he's Homeland Security guy, and then the alien invasion starts. But you're basically only watching it through screens. Like, you very rarely do you have the camera cut back and over the shoulder or get a more expansive view of the environment. And so it gets real old real quick.
Do you think this, I'm sure you've walked out of movies before, Chris, have you?
I have. I have. Yes, I've definitely done that.
Did you walk out of this movie? Did you? Because I've talked to a few friends who have actually somehow watched this now, including yourself, and they were like, at about 20 minutes in, they stopped it and they got up and left. But there was something about like, I need to finish this, that pulled them back in. Do you feel that same way?
No, and I actually, to full disclosure with your audience, I could not be bothered to finish. I got about halfway through, and I was like, I'm done. Like, this film is not progressing. It also just feels kind of like a big Amazon ad at this point. And so, yeah, maybe there's some stuff in the back half that's going to redeem it. But when I pulled up all the critic reviews, this thing is a 0% from the critics on Rotten Tomato and a 19 from the audience. I just felt like I had better things to do with my time, and like anything would have been better to do with my time than watch this film. Like, I would not recommend this movie to anybody, like, at all. It's not even bad, like, say, like The Room, where you kind of get that cult badness. It's so bad it's good. This is just a low budget piece of garbage.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for that, because that's my next question. Is that do you feel like this could get a cult following because it's so bad that it just tips into the direction of now we have to watch it because it's so bad?
No, because I think that there's nothing redeeming about it. Like, so if you've seen The Room, the Tommy Wiseau thing, there's the Oscar-winning film, the Disaster Artist done by the Francos, which talks about it. Like, there's just so much kooky stuff happening in that. You're like, you can have a couple drinks, or you can go out to a theater and watch it and just be like, that was ridiculous, right? We watched a ridiculous movie. This is just like a bad script, executed poorly. There's no budget. Like, I couldn't find the budget for this, but it feels like Universal Studios was like, I'm going to take some pocket change and throw it at this. So there's nothing about this. It's not kitschy. It's just annoying. And again, that kind of zoom front facing camera stuff is like, it gets under your skin really quickly. So like I said, annoying is such a good description of this film because it's not endearing. Like, you just want to turn off the movie.
Well, I really appreciate you getting at least halfway through it to give the synopsis. What do you think happened here? Like, what do you think? Like, I mean, you said pocket change. You think like it just pocket change got thrown at it, but is this one of those movies that literally was just kind of like, maybe this can just be more of an advertisement than actual movie? But I mean, to get like Ice Cube and even Longoria in it involved, it had to have some kind of draw.
Well, I mean, money. That may have been where they spent their budget. So I have a quote that Universal put out, and it said that they liked the idea of this film because it had the look of a commercial event film. So think of like Independence Day or something like that, but at the budget of a contained thriller. So as soon as I see that, I'm like, okay, so you wanted Spielberg's War of the Worlds, but not at Spielberg's War of the Worlds $100 and some odd million price tag. So you're like, oh, we're going to do all this kind of cool. And maybe there were some people looking at it thinking this is an interesting way to shoot a film, but then don't do an event film. So the types of films that usually do well for this kind of in-camera type of stuff is stuff like Unfriended, Face to Face. Like there's these very contained, you're in a house or something like that where you're following like just a set of characters. You can't invade the world and do it all through one dude sitting in an office. So again, I think it was also shot during COVID. So again, I think the studios might have thought, we need stuff for our pipeline. This is great because I'm assuming a lot of the actors were shooting their scenes kind of on their own, even if they did have a crew. They're like, it's not going to be a ton of money, blah, 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 blah. Like, this thing was shot, I think, in like 2002. 2020, and it's now 2020. Like, it doesn't take that long to get a film through post-production. Like, and so my question is, why didn't they just write this thing off as like a tax write-off or something? Like, I get that it creates content for Amazon, and it's kind of funny too because the film opens with like, so actually, Peter DeBruge from Variety had the best on this. Even with a Prime subscription, you have to sit through 2 minutes of ads to watch 90 more of what amounts to be a feature-length commercial for all things Amazon. So Amazon could have just thrown it on their streaming service and, like, let us watch it. But it's like they use the War of the Worlds to, like, lure us in with Ice Cube. You watch the ads, so boom, right off the bat, they're making some money on the fact that, like, you're watching their advertisements. And then they subject you to basically an Amazon ad. And I bet you they didn't pay a ton of money for this from Universal to get the streaming rights, because Universal has it sitting on their desk back at the studio being like, I don't know, what are we going to do with this thing? Whatever the budget was. Like, I don't know, maybe this was a $5 or $10 million film.
Okay, Chris, I have to ask the most important question. Is this the worst movie you've ever watched?
Okay, it's definitely the worst movie that I've seen of 2025. In order to do like worst movie of all, this is definitely actually going to be on my list of worst movies. I'd have to dig into my crate and see what else comes up. But this is there is literally no redeeming quality to this film at all. But some people are liking it. There are people on Rotten Tomatoes that they say they thoroughly enjoyed it, and the critics are just being snobs. You know what? To each their own.
Well, thank you very much for that, Chris. I do want to balance this out. Do you mind sticking around? I want to talk to you a bit about like the best movie you've seen in 2025, just as a palate cleanser.
Sure.
Okay, so
let me go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, you're okay with sticking around?
Yeah, of course.
All right, excellent, Chris. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to put Chris on hold quickly, and when we come back, we'll talk about maybe some good movies that you should definitely go see, either in theaters or just on streaming service. So right now, you are watching me, Colin Robertson, filling in for Mike Farwell. We'll talk more about movies coming up. This is 570 News Radio, and I'm on Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. For Mike Farwell, I'm Colin Robertson. Right now we're talking movies because maybe one of the worst movies ever released was released this week, called War of the Worlds with Ice Cube and Leaving Longoria. But we're going to get off that. I know a lot of people just, have walked out of movies before, but I kind of subjugated Chris Langford, podcast host, movie reviewer, for How'd You Like That Movie, which you can find on YouTube and podcasts. Chris, so now that we've gone over possibly the worst movie of the year, let's talk about some good movies. What's come out this year so far that you're really hyped about?
So I would say that so far one of my favorite films, and this is a controversial take, I feel like this film has really divided people, was Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later. So I was super excited about this film, and I thought it did an amazing job of balancing kind of a zombie film, but really a drama. A beautifully shot drama that's dystopian but has a ton of tension. I saw it 3 times in the theater. If anybody who's seen it, there's a very emotional storyline in it that it brought me to tears every single time I saw it. But I also know some people absolutely hate this movie because there's some big tonal changes and stuff in it. But honestly, I think that if you haven't seen 28 Years Later, definitely see it. Because the trailer is going to make it feel like a conventional zombie film. It is not. There are those aspects, but what you're getting is actually a family drama that I think is really well executed. So that's probably one of my favorite films so far this season. There's been a lot of disappointing films like Mission Impossible and F1. I also did not love Ballerina or Sinners, and I took a lot of hate for that. The other two that I think that are on my radar, Black Bag, the spy thriller, I thought was great. If you like that kind of, it's not Cold War anymore, but that style, like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, I think you'll love Black Bag. It's very British. It looks good. The fashion's great. It's got a great cast. And then I also, if you want something fun, maybe on the streaming service at this point, is a film called Companion about a personal robot that becomes a bit self-aware and maybe doesn't like what is happening to her. So those would be my top 3 recommendations, kind of off the top of my head. And we're going to be also reviewing the new Naked Gun film this week. If you like body horror, kind of like that David Cronenberg, very visceral horror, and you don't mind a bit of an indie drama, the film Together with Alison Brie and Dave Franco, it's currently in theater. It is actually a fantastic study of codependency that has body horror aspects into it. But if you don't like body horror, you may want to wait till this one comes out on a streaming service.
All right, excellent. And there is one movie, this is selfish of me, one movie that I'm actually really excited for and I can't wait is Weapons. And I'm wondering what your thoughts on it are.
So it looks really, really interesting. So it will definitely be, it's from the same team that brought you Barbarian, which, I like Barbarian up into the 3rd act. But again, Barbarian did really well. This looks very eerie. The trailer, as long as they don't, there's no more new trailers that give away too much. But this concept of kind of these like children disappearing and then whatever the reason behind that, from a cinematic perspective, it looks very good. So we'll definitely be reviewing Weapons. So.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for sticking around with me and, doing one terrible movie and giving me some of good movies to maybe go and watch.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us on the show. And again, for anybody who's looking, you can find us at How Would You Like That Movie, anywhere you get your podcast, www.howdyoulikeThatmovie.com, or on YouTube. We've got 18,000 subscribers on YouTube. So check us out.
Thank you very much, Chris. Will do.
Great.
All right.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye. Yeah. Some good movies there, some bad movies. I've ever only walked out of one movie in my life, and it was a movie called Lucky Numbers with, I believe it was Lisa Kudrow and John Travolta. Like, paying for a movie and then walking out of it has to be one of the saddest experiences ever, because you're like, okay, I can't wait to sit down and enjoy something, and then like 20 minutes in, you're just thinking, I can't believe I gave money to this. And I'm sure you have stories like that too, where you've turned something off and you've left it behind because there's just no way you can get through it. And if you want to share those stories with me, phone lines are open. Call us at star 570 or 519-570-2545, and we'll take your calls on just maybe a bad movie that you've walked out of and just you get off your chest, because it happens, and we can share in the pain together. And if you want to enjoy some bad movies, I think I have to watch this War of the Worlds movie, at least the first 20 minutes of it, and then hopefully push through, because all the clips of it just make it seem like just one of the most funny things that you'll ever watch. So we'll see. I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to really try to do it sometime this weekend, most likely. So we'll be back on the Mike Farwell Show right after this break. I'm Colin Robertson for Mike Farwell. You're listening to 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. And before we hit the news break at the top of the hour here, we're going to take one call. Get this one call on. Sean, how are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. I just like to mention a movie I walked out of. Not because it was, not for the reason that you're saying, but because it was utterly embarrassing, and I was unaware of what the movie was about, and I was with a date, and it was absolutely mortifying.
Okay, what movie was that?
It was called The Story of O. I will leave you to Google that title, because I will not say what it is about over the radio.
Okay, but you just fully left. You just hit the eject button.
It was. Let us just say it was based on a French novel. It was showing in an art theater house in Kitchener back in the 80s. Enough said. I was mortified and walked out with my date. I don't think she ever saw me again.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Sean. That was Sean. Yeah, it happens. Sometimes you just walk into a movie and you're like, oh, this was a bad idea. Why did I do any of this? But yeah, we're about to hit the top of the hour, get to a news break. We'll be back. We'll be talking about trees. I hope you like trees. You're listening to 570 News Radio, and I'm on Rogers TV. Are you ready to talk some trees? I know I am. It's nature. It's good. It's good stuff. You know, summertime, things are alive, birds, all that kind of fun stuff. You know, and there is a reason for it. I'm not just going to talk about trees for no reason, but there is a celebration coming up for a very old oak tree in Waterloo Park, and it kind of coincides with this thing that the region is doing, trying to plant 10,000 trees. And I think it's a great project to be looking at, and things like this should be continuously happening. We should be trying to plant as many trees as possible. So we're getting some, we're gonna ask somebody about this. Suzette McCanny, event co-organizer of Under the Canopy celebration for the for the trees and stuff. Suzette, how are you today?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Great. Thanks for chatting with me. Yeah, we're gonna celebrate some trees.
I can't wait. Do you cut a ribbon?
We have a garland. Yeah, we have a ribbon.
I love it.
We don't cut it. We're just gonna wrap it. Yeah, and we'll make our own make our own little like flags and like those little triangle flags and put some words of gratitude on there. And it's for all ages. So if you're a kid or if you're an adult who wants some kid-like joy, we want everybody.
I do like kid-like joy. That's my favorite kind of joy. So this old oak tree, exactly how old is it?
We don't know exactly, but the park itself is 135 years old, so it's definitely as old as the park. And it says if two adults hug an oak tree and can reach their arms around, that's about 135 years. So it's definitely that old. I'd guess even older, probably like 200 years.
Wow.
So if you imagine what's happened underneath its branches in the last 200 years, it's seen a lot.
It has definitely seen a lot, for sure. That tree has some stories, definitely.
Yeah.
So this event, so what exactly, what's happening at this event?
So it's a community event, and we have crafts. We have a local artist doing a workshop on how to draw a tree and sort of give you an opportunity to try your hand at some artistic expression about what the tree looks like to you. We also have a child therapist who's talking to the kids, no therapy, but just sort of like talking to them about what trees mean to them and helping them make a collective poem. We have bubble parades. We have Andrew Reinhardt, the local harpist, is going to be playing music and talking about trees and sort of doing an improv based on that. So it's a really calm and a peaceful time, just a moment to rest in the shade on a hot summer afternoon.
And what day is this happening?
This is on August 23rd, Saturday, from 2 to 4 p.m. It's in the west side of Waterloo Park, sort of like near the splash pad, near the band shell, near that little footbridge halfway between there. There'll be signs up.
Okay, perfect. And this coincides with this huge regional project of planting 10,000 trees. Do you believe that we should be pushing that farther?
Probably, yeah. That's a great question, actually. Do you know Janine Benyus at all? She's a biophilia scientist or biomimicry scientist, and she talks about this idea of generous cities and that a city could be as productive of oxygen and shade as their local forest. And so wouldn't it be exciting to dream that big?
I mean, with trees providing so much of, that stuff to us, it's very interesting to me how, finding places to plant trees seems to be an issue because it seems like we have a lot of space that they can go. But is there anything that's kind of stopping that, do you feel?
I don't know. I think the city is trying to plant these trees, like the 10,000 new trees, in areas like neighborhoods that don't have as many trees. And maybe it's just funding. Maybe it's land ownership. I'm not sure.
Okay. And I have to ask you before I let you go, what's your favorite tree?
What's my favorite tree? I like an apple tree.
An apple tree?
I like an apple tree, yeah. I like that they provide food to everybody and that they're so innocent. And the wasp season's not great, though, under an apple tree. I'll give you that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there is definitely a downside to apple tree, which is definitely wasps.
But this big oak tree in the park, I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh, there's that oak tree, And he was like, oh, I know exactly the one you're talking about. So I think this tree has a bit of love around it.
Well, that's great to hear. If you want to, just tell us a little bit about this event that's happening again, when it's happening, and then I can let you go.
Sure. So this is Under the Canopy, a celebration for the future. Come one, come all, kids, families, adults. Come on Saturday, August 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m. at Waterloo Park on the west side. There'll be signage up. You can start in the splash pad and you can go from there. And we look forward to seeing you.
Will there be any donations or anything towards something part of this?
That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that. We were hoping for it to be just a moment for the community to connect with each other and really just celebrate and take a rest and respite and just calm down for a second and be with each other.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you very much, Suzette, for your time.
Take care.
All right. Okay. Bye. That was Suzette McCanny, event co-organizer for Under the Canopy celebration for the Old Oak Tree in Waterloo Park, which is maybe even 200 years old. Sounds like a fun little event that maybe will give you a little bit of time to pause with everything and just take a look at what is around us and really appreciate it, which it's hard to do sometimes because I feel like we're constantly moving, and I feel like if you're listening to me right now, you are probably also moving in your car. But I think one thing that I really appreciate this region for is like I can drive in pretty much any direction for about 10 minutes or so, and I can hit like fields and forests, and there's just so much beauty out there that you don't really appreciate until you take a hard look at it. And it just really shows you how big this province is, and you really feel the weight of like, wow, there's just all this space and just all this green that it's beautiful. And I definitely appreciate it more as I get older, which makes me sound even older than I am. Great. Well, we'll be back after this break, go get some traffic and weather. But when we come back, we'll be talking Bluesfest, which kicks off today. And if you want to go listen to music, Burton Cummings is coming. I mean, come on. That's amazing in itself. But we'll come back and we'll talk to the president of the Kitchener Blues Festival here on the Mike Farwell Show. I'm Colin Robertson. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. And for Mike Farwell, I'm Colin Robertson. We're going to talk some blues. As you know, the Kitchener Blues Festival is kicking off today with a special fundraising concert. We have the president of the Kitchener Blues Festival here right now, Peter Beacock. Peter, how are you doing today?
Hey, Colin, we're 100%, and we're ready for the biggest show of the summer season in downtown Kitchener.
It must be an immense amount of planning around this. Can you give us some in-depth and a look behind the scenes of just how much work goes into getting something like this off the ground every year?
Sure will. So the next year's festival, the 26th version, of the festival, planning starts on Monday morning, August 11th of 2025. It's actually well underway. Some artists have been selected. Contractors go through a vetting process. Volunteers get ready for their post-festival party. And the board begins the 12-month task of meeting, deciding, choosing, planning, building, fixing. We contribute almost 6,000 volunteer hours to the community, and 65% of that happens over a 100-hour period every year in what we call the Kitchener Blues Festival.
Wow, that is incredible that August 11th you're planning for next year.
Got to. Some of the bands are already booked. A good example would be Cardinal Black, I believe, was hooked last year when they were still an up-and-comer. They had an album that is now breaking out in America, and they are a really big deal. And you have to book that far ahead. These artists are in high demand now, and they're being paid much better than they've ever been paid. So it's a complicated process for sure.
Okay, so that's, a complicated process for sure. I mean, it sounds like it. But tonight is the fundraising concert. What does this fundraising concert actually provide to the Kitchener's Blues Festival?
So we say it this way, Colin. This one-ticketed show helps to ensure that the 3 days of the free festival, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, are free to every resident and every visitor willing to visit our interurban event. It is a very large event. It's one of the largest free festivals in the country, and we expect to keep it that way, and this show does that. So the participation we get from every level of government, from all of our vending sponsors, and these hundreds of volunteers that are what really makes it go. That's how we do it. There's no secret sauce. It's good old-fashioned hard work. And people remember the Thursday night show, but the acts they're going to see this weekend last them a lifetime, and we expose them to new music, old favorites, and everything in the middle.
How important do you feel an event like this is for the region?
we've had a very good relationship with the region and the cities of Kitchener and Waterloo because we share the volunteers, we share the audience, we share their infrastructure. This is critically important. We do at least 1,000 exit interviews every year, many electronically, and we track certain data while our visitors are with us to better understand what they need and what they want. It's vitally important, and having it something that is as simple as coming down, we supply the water, you supply the cup. We supply the music, you supply the smiles. It's not happening very often anymore because of hyperinflation and the cost of everything. We're trying to create the opposite, where we create a community of people that get used to seeing each other and being each other and sharing their food and sharing their music and sharing the vibe and finding things in common. So hopefully, without getting too philosophical, Colin, that's part of what the festival fabric is.
I felt that the philosophy. That was good. I mean, it is a big project, and it is a lot of support that you need for it for sure. So tonight, headliner. Do you want to go over with how that all came around and how you got that one done?
Yeah. So in 2015, we had a really strange festival lineup. We decided we would try and go to 2 paid ticketed shows during our festival, and it was only our 3rd year in the park, I believe, maybe the 4th. So we had Burton Cummings on Thursday night, as we are again this year, 10 years later, and we had Randy Bachman on Friday night. And it was a good idea, but it didn't go sort of financially as well as we had figured because the one concert sort of bit into the other one. 10 years later, Burton is, having the tour of his life. He's getting rave reviews in every spot he's in. And he's living proof that ageism is kind of overrated. It doesn't matter how old he is because the show people are going to see tonight is one for the ages. You can go on YouTube and read reviews from different American cities. He's gone in and just ripped to shreds. He is a killer band. And he's a 5-time Juno winner, double Walk of Fame recipient. The opening act is no slouch. Shamikia Copeland is a Grammy winner. She's a host in Sirius Radio. And she is like an explosion going off. You think it's gospel blues, and all of a sudden you realize that she's sweating and you're sweating and you're doing it. And it's amazing. It's just a 1-2 punch. It's going to be an incredible evening of music. And the people that are at the show, this will be one they will remember.
Oh, it sounds. I mean, I'm going to remember it right now with this conversation. Just over the weekend, what are some of your other acts that you're really excited about coming up?
Okay, some of the acts I mentioned, Conrad Black is a big one. Double Grammy winner, I think maybe more than 2 now. Daniel Lanois is playing in the Park, which is OLG Clock Tower on Saturday afternoon. That crazy guy from Scarborough that's rocked us hard for 50 years. He's on his 50-year exit tour. That's Greg Godovitz from Gatto. They are closing out the Park showcase on Sunday afternoon at 3:30. Please come, and Greg will put on a whale of a show as well. We have a couple of great downtown events here. Friday, the Blues Camp kicks off the proper free festival at 3 o'clock at the Europro BIA stage, which is up near King and Frederick. At 6 o'clock, Miss Angel Brown kicks off the True Festival at City Hall, and that's a tradition that's been held since Mel left us, I believe in 2009. And on Saturday morning at the corner of Queen and Charles, there will be a throng of people getting together to unveil the 219th Mississippi Blues Trail marker with a contingent of folks from the state of Mississippi and all of the local blues aficionados that have kept the blues alive here for almost 30 years now in Waterloo region. And we're very proud of each of those events and happenings. And once again, this is part of what the festival weekend is like.
It sounds like an incredible time this weekend. I got to give you kudos. It is sounds like a ton of work to put together, and I'm sure it's going to be absolutely incredible. I'm so glad that something like this, an extensive as like a whole weekend, is being filled by so many great acts.
You're very welcome, Colin, and it's all about the music. To a fault, every person on the board is a really heavy music head. They all are, and my 12 board members and myself, we spent a lot of time trying to understand what we need to do to be better hosts, to offer a better product, to make sure there's just a shaker or two of pure love in it, because that's why we do it. It's a working board. There's no such thing as a paid volunteer in our world. And we have a GDP that's in the many millions of dollars that we bring to the region in 100 hours. And we do this out of our love for community and the music that makes the world go around.
Well, Peter, thank you very much for your time. I just have one more question for you. And then you're free to go, and I'm sure you have lots of last minute things to do. So I'm sorry for holding you for so long. But
no worries.
What song makes you think of summer? Like, what is there a certain song that you're like, that is the quintessential summer song?
Okay, if I was picking the song, and I've been a professional musician for 55 years myself, my song would be "Summer in the City."
Great song.
It was the song that took me, and when I heard that organ intro, I knew what my life sort of angle of trajectory was going to be. And I think it sums it all up. It's a sideways love song, and it's about a nitty-gritty inner city moment, and we're going to provide you 4 days of those right here in K-Town this weekend.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that, Peter. And I best of luck. It will all break a leg. Yeah, break a leg. That's what we're going to do.
Very kind. That's a good theater talk, and I appreciate that, Colin. You and your listeners that can get down, please come down and visit the festival. We'd love to have you. And say hello. I'm the guy in the red hat, and if you have a complaint, it should come to me as well.
Okay, sounds great, Peter. No complaints yet, I promise.
Good. Thanks, Colin. You have yourself a great day, and thanks for taking care of us again.
Yeah, no problem, Peter. Peter Beacock, he is the president of the Kitchener Blues Festival. It's going to be a wild weekend, a lot of fun. I can't wait to hear some of this stuff. It's going to be great. So, but with that, we're nearing the news hour, but we're going to take a quick break, and I'll come back. You're listening to 570 News Radio and on Rogers TV. I'm late to the news center again because I'm very bad at this. There's no other question. So let's get to the 570 News Center right now and get you an update. This is the Mike Farwell Show. I'm Colin Robertson. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. And for Mike Farwell today, I'm Colin Robertson. We're on the flip side now, where my topic is today, what's the most valuable thing you've lost? Now, I came up with this idea a couple weeks ago, I believe, or was it last week? Who knows? Time's a flat circle. Mike was talking about how he lost a Mustang, a 69 Mustang. And the second I heard him talking about it, I immediately crumbled into a ball, because he's like, oh, it's been a long time and I'm kind of over it, but I don't believe it. I don't think you can just get over things like that. Like, I think you have to talk about them out loud. I think you have to talk about that kind of loss of something valuable to you, because it's just something that always sticks in your brain. It's just one of those things that it gnaws at you. So hearing that story was just, oh man, just a gut punch. I can't even imagine how, like, the moment, the realization, and just going on from there. But I have a story that's similar. I have one that is directly connected to me, and then one to a family member. But for me, I'm a huge nerd. Okay, I'm a big nerd. I'm a big nerd guy. I did a lot of collecting growing up, and the one thing I collected a lot of were Pokemon cards. And I had a huge binder full of Pokemon cards. I had every single one and more, duplicates of some, all the original 151. And I was probably like 12 or 13 or 14 at the time. But it disappeared. I was looking for it when I was like 18, 19, and it was just gone. So like all this collection that I had built up, that I had a very strong connection to was suddenly missing. And I tore the house apart looking for it. I was going frantic because I kind of knew it was going to be valuable, at least in some case, even like a small amount of valuable. Like it was valuable to me more importantly than anything. But I kind of knew that with the way that, you know, things appreciate, such as baseball cards and whatever, I knew it might be worth something someday. So for it to suddenly disappear off the face of the earth made me want to vomit. And it still does. Even just talking about it right now, because it was just one of these things that I spent so much time collecting and putting into, and to suddenly for it to go missing, it was an extremely valuable thing that was suddenly gone. And I still think about it to this day. It's been 20 years pretty much since I've lost it. And I don't know where it went. I'm never getting it back. And it sticks in my brain. And I feel like at least saying it out loud will kind of help the healing process, at least a little bit. The other one happened to an aunt of mine. She was at the cottage, and she lost her wedding ring in the lake. Now, that is awful. Years later, years go by, she finds it in the sand, and she can't believe it. It's been years and years and years. She finally gets it back. She's over the moon. Takes it home. You know, she wouldn't wear it all the time, but so she kept it in her house, just in like a jewelry box. And her and my uncle go out. They come back, and the house has been broken into, and the wedding ring gets stolen. So something that she lost that was super valuable gets it years back later, only for it to be lost again. So it's just, some things, I guess, are just meant to be gone because that, I still can't believe that story to this day. Jen Tan on the other side of the glass. Jen, have you ever lost something valuable?
I was like surprised you asked me. I was like surprised you asked me first, but I was still thinking.
You're still thinking? Have you never lost anything valuable? Like something that you...
Just a cell phone.
Okay, that's valuable. How'd you lose a cell phone?
I don't think it's valuable enough for me.
It's not valuable enough for you? Cell phones can be pretty expensive.
It's not too expensive, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was a gift. It was a gift.
It was a gift. And so, but you lost this gift, this cell phone, and now it's gone forever.
It's not that the person who gave it to me is not important. It's just that things there in my phone wasn't really important.
So the things in the phone were more important than the actual phone.
No. I don't really think it's important for me.
Oh no, not at all.
At that time, because I was really young.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think cell phone is really important if you lost your phone. But now it is, since most of the time, you use it for your work, your school, and all that. So.
It is essentially some people's wallet now too.
Exactly.
Where like if you lose a cell phone now, you have banking information on there. You have lots of probably photos, like work documents.
If you're using a Nokia 3210 during that time, I don't think it's really important.
You don't think? Yeah, I mean, based on the Nokia part, yeah. I mean, that was the brick one, right? That was the one that couldn't break. Wow.
The OGs.
That is definitely the OG cell phone. Did you play a lot of Snake on that thing? No, maybe
no,
Snake. Maybe it was more of a Snake machine than it was anything else for phone calls.
And the breaks and the Tetris. It's like a Tetris kind of game.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good time. But yeah, I mean, losing something valuable, it hurts. It is a gut punch, and I feel like it's just one of those things where I'm kind of glad I talked about it, because I'm definitely never seeing it again, and so just to kind of take that weight off my shoulders now, and at least be free of this. But if you have anything valuable that you've lost and you want to share in my pain, Mike's pain, Jen's somewhat pain, kind of not really that much pain, more just kind of thinking like, oh, well, it's a cell phone is gone now. But you can call us at star 570 or 519. How about I get the phone number right? Let's just do that. 519-570-2545 or toll free at 1-800-570-5715, and we'll take your calls on, things that you've lost and are just lost to time now.
and just something valuable that you may have had that's you can't find. Maybe it's still somewhere in your house and you don't even know. I mean, maybe it's just sitting in that box, but you've looked all over the place and you just. I can't believe it still drives me crazy. I can't believe how crazy it still drives me that I've lost this, because I mean, it's just some Pokemon cards, but man, those are probably worth something now. Oh boy, that hurts. It hurts. It hurts. But we'll take a quick break. We'll take your phone calls when we come back. Andre, so you just called. We'll get to you soon. Okay. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. And for Mike Farwell, I'm Colin Robertson. We are talking about things that you have lost. Valuable things. Things that make you kind of grin and just bear it, and just, things that hurt a little bit. Things that, like, you just can't get over that you've lost. Valuable things. Let's hit the phones. Andre, how you doing today, Andre?
Well, yeah, it's a good one.
It's a good one? I can't wait.
Yeah, my mind is just floating, but I'll get to that. I just want to say to you, Colin, you're a natural at this.
I appreciate that, Andre.
Yes. Well, it's, I'm a single person, lost my mom and dad, but I'll go back to that. About the ring, the story you said, my son and my daughter, every time we go to the beach, they always bring their goggles because we always hear a story like that. Kudos to her that the energy of out there, put it back on. It was for a reason, right? That it was giving, but not. It's a sign not to get attached of material. Because in our case, we had a house fire, so we lost everything. And, when you realize that you still have each other, and from those days, 16 years ago, it hurts, certain memories about things. But, we look at each other now, it's like, here we are again, another journey, another chapter. So go back to the story of my mom. I haven't seen her since I was pretty much a kid, and she ran away pretty much from the family because of the drama. She wanted to be by herself, and she moved to a different city, and I haven't seen her like in 40 years. So with my wife, I had a thought of what street she lived on, but my wife had these numbers that was a sign of her life, 282, and we went on that street, took a bus, and we found her, and we spent time together, and unfortunately she passed away a couple of years later. But it's just life is just such destiny.
Wow, Andre, that is an incredible story. So that reconnection there, that must have been something.
Well, it's the same thing now with the injury. I lost my sight. I lost a lot of things that I did not understand about myself, and that's a journey too. And now for the last couple of years, I'm learning differently, like older's telling me, what you had is a gift, but now you have to move on, and that's what older people do. They learn differently how to function in life, and that's what I'm doing now for the last couple of years. And go Rangers.
Oh, thank you very much, Andre. Yes, go Rangers for sure. Dan, how you doing today?
I guess it's good. How are you?
I'm good. Have you lost something valuable that makes you want to puke as well?
No, but this kind of plays into that. Goes back a few years ago when my daughters were in high school and they got their first cell phones, and we were very, you need to hang on to this stuff, not leave it laying around, and, this is really a big responsibility, get serious. Well, my one daughter went on a school trip to the States and lent her charger to somebody and then forgot to get it back and came home and realized she had lost her charger. She said, well, Dad, you'll get me another one, won't you? He says, of course I will. And 6 months later, true to my word, I got her another charger. And so she spent 6 months with a phone that didn't work, but you know what? Never happened again.
Yeah, that is a good lesson to learn. It's just, I mean, I thought I was going to go phone first, like just left the phone on a bus or something. But yeah, you should. Two things. Make sure you remember the charger, because if you don't have it, you really don't have a phone. And I think that's a very good lesson, Dan. So thank you very much for that call.
Have a good day.
You too, Dan. Yeah, man, I can't even losing a charger but still having the phone and just having a bricked phone is something actually very comical about that, where it's like, oh, you lost a charger? Okay. Yeah, no, I'll get you one. And then you wait like a month or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And then I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's a charger. It just gives that kind of weightiness of of things cost money. And you have to understand that money doesn't come out of nowhere. It just, yeah. So you got to wait. Grant, how you doing?
Good, Mr. Colin. So you're not calling mockery?
I wish I was. That guy's way too funny.
Are you?
I look up to him,
funny, though. Are you funny to look at like he is?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You can just giggle.
No, I have a face for radio for sure.
Okay.
Have you lost something valuable, Grant?
Yeah, I had something valuable when I was working at the hospital. I was volunteering for this women's hockey tournament that was at the auditorium, and volunteering, they gave you a spring jacket, but you had to volunteer for multiple shifts, 4 shifts at a time, and I left this jacket at work, not thinking that someone would take it or get lost. And I showed up the next day. Where is this thing?
Oh boy!
Yeah, it was such a nice jacket, especially when you work hard in 4-hour shifts, 3 or 4-hour shifts in order to get this thing, right?
Yeah, no, I totally get that, Grant. Thanks for your call. Yeah, I mean that also plays a big part in this. Is, you know, things just get stolen. Like, I mean, valuable things, especially like they're valuable to you, but some people are just like, yeah, I'm going to take this because it's money to me. So great. Super good. George, how are you doing today?
Yeah. Good morning, Colin. How are you doing?
I'm good. Did you lose something valuable?
Oh boy, Colin, it's still hurting me to this day, and I don't know where it is. About 10, 12 years ago, I started buying old baseball cards from the 20s and 30s. And this was before the hype. So I got them for good prices. And you know what? I don't know now where I placed it. It's probably somewhere in the house. That's what I'm hoping. I hope I didn't accidentally throw them out thinking that it was just part of it got lost in some garbage or something. But I hope to this day I can still find it.
Oh, George, I feel your pain when it comes to cards. I really hope that you find it and you don't have to tear up the carpets and the floorboards to get them.
And today, those cards would be worth something. So, yeah, call in 1920s and 1930s baseball cards.
Oh, man. Thanks for your call, George. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a real tough one. Yeah, that would definitely hurt. Gary, I see you're on the line. We've got to go a quick break, do some spots, and we'll come back and we'll get your call, Gary. You're listening to the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio, and Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. In for Mike Farwell, I'm Colin Robertson. We're talking about something valuable you may have lost or had stolen. This came after I heard Mike talk about a 69 Mustang that got taken away from him. And I don't think he's recovered. And I haven't recovered from my Pokemon cards. I want them. I will find them one day. No, I won't. They're gone. They're gone forever. Gary, have you lost something valuable?
Yeah, hey there. I think I lost something probably more sentimental, maybe, than valuable. I don't know. I think
that counts. Believe me, that counts.
Yeah, I probably lost lots of things during my life and haven't really realized that they're gone. And one day you go, geez, I wonder where I ever put that thing. But, I had a present from my mom, and it was like a travel safe where you could put your valuables in, and it had a long cord on it, and you could kind of lasso it back on itself, and you could, hide it somewhere in a hotel room and attach it to a bed frame or something or whatever. So numerous years ago, my wife and I, we were on a trip to San Francisco and went down, saw Alcatraz and did that whole thing. And we rented a vehicle, and I put that thing underneath the driver's seat of the vehicle and lassoed it on there. And there were some things in there, and it was all locked up, and it was all good. And, the night before we're jumping on the airplane to come back home, we're emptying out the vehicle and all that thing. And I totally forgot about that thing underneath the seat. So we, grabbed the suitcases, jumped on the plane, came back home. And, like a day later, I went, oh, my gosh, there's that stupid safe. I left it underneath the seat of that van. And so I called the company, and they said, oh, yeah, we'll look for it. But it's already been rented out. It's already back on the road, and who knows what. And I phoned again like a day later, and they said, nope, they haven't come across anything. And that's it, man. That was like 7 or 8 years ago, and there's stuff in there. I don't remember what's in there.
Oh, Gary, that's a tough one. The amount of times I've left something behind, but you can go back for it. But to have a rented car in San Francisco, that is tough. Gary, thank you so much for your time and your story.
Thank you.
Yeah, losing valuable things, it happens, and it sucks, and it hurts quite a lot. Yeah, that definitely bad time. Just having it under your seat and then forgetting it in a rental car. Ooh, that's a tough one. Man. We're getting closer to the 12 o'clock hour, which means the 12 o'clock talk back. I hope you're excited. I know I am. I want to talk to you. We had lots of stuff happen today. More stuff than ever has happened ever before. Maybe. Probably not. But still, we had a lot of good topics today. Talked about Carney's first 100 days, back to school. How much are you paying for your kids' back to school stuff? This is around the time all the back to school sales start. Got to go pick up pens and pencils. How much are you dropping this year? And it's got to be astronomical now. How many pens and pencils do you need? The answer is a lot. It just is. It's more than you could ever fathom because they will get lost for sure. Bad movies. Have you ever walked out of a movie? Has there ever been a movie so bad that you paid for and you're just like, this is not worth it, and left? Because I definitely have. And Kitchener's Bluesfest, you want to talk some music? Make sure that you get your requests in for tomorrow. I want summer songs. Songs of the summer is what I want. Give them to me. I need some new stuff to listen to. I want that summer vibe to it, okay? But 12 o'clock now. Let's get to the news center for an update. We'll be back for the talk back. You call it star 570 or 519-570-2545. This is the Mike Farwell Show. I'm Colin Robertson on 570 News Radio.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage outside, or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Oh, you know what time it is. That's right. Yaki's playing. It's talkback time. Star 570, 519-570-2545, or toll free at 1-800-570-7515. And the phone lines are pretty full right now, which is great. That's what I want. I want to talk to you. We can talk about anything that we've talked about today. And if you're looking for topics, I can give them to you. And if not, we can just talk about whatever you want. Grant, let's start with you. How's it going?
Yeah, you probably heard this over the news a couple of days ago where this fellow approached this young little girl just playing around with a soccer ball, asking her questions of where does she live, and can I play with you? What is it with these people? I don't think my parents were so worried about having someone approach me way back in the 70s and 80s, but it sounds like you have to be very careful at
at watching your kids and making sure that no one picks you up. Or I always had to walk from Smithson Public School to Rosemount Drive to go to school. And again, like I said, my parents weren't too worried. I would be out front, just watching water going down the drain, which kind of excited me. I would get so excited watching that. Yeah, so it's...
No, I totally get what you're saying, Grant. Thanks for your call. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this has been, it's an issue with predators and stuff just for as long as time has been. It's just, it's more so about how we deal with the issue and making sure that, nothing bad is happening in the moment. I have two minds about this because my childhood, I went everywhere. Like, I basically had no strings attached, and I ran around the streets, and I climbed fences. I went to places I shouldn't have gone to. But now, I don't know what it is. It does feel different now. It just feels like there's no way possible I could ever let my kid do that. It seems like such a crazy concept that is now lost to time. And it's unfortunate because, there's just so many things that could happen. Cars driving along the street, like high speed. There's people. There's all sorts of different things that feel unsafe. But at the same time, I don't want to be that person. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure that my children get to experience the same things that I did because that's what made my childhood so good. I can't lock them in a box and expect nothing to happen. It's just being smart, like teaching them that certain situations are dangerous and you shouldn't do things. I think more education more than anything will actually help. Dave, number 47. How are you doing today?
Very good. Your topic on the worst movies ever made.
Yes.
I didn't bother calling because my list is way too long.
Well, what's number one? I'll take number one, number two, Dave.
No, I'm going a different tangent. I'm going to talk to you briefly about the two best movies ever made.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we can do that too.
And to me, it's not the number of Rotten Tomatoes. It's not how much money it made. It's just what makes you watch it over and over and you never tire of it. And for me, the two real hooked movies, the first one was made before you were around.
Are you sure? Maybe I'm a vampire and I've been alive 100 years.
Oh, I'm positive.
Okay.
But it's a movie you're familiar with. It's a franchise that's unreal. They made over a dozen movies in the franchise. And it's well known for its lyrics and song of the movie and the whole bit and who the artist is. And that's Goldfinger.
Ooh, yeah. Bond. Goldfinger's a great one.
Yes, it's Bond. James Bond.
Thank you for doing it, Dave. I'm glad I teed you up for that.
and the second one was, again, a well-known actor who starred in maybe over a dozen films. But this was a departure for him. And I thought, and I'm not sure if it made any money or not, but I'll watch it over and over again. And it's Total Recall.
Oh, Total Recall is a great movie for Schwarzenegger. Yeah, I think that's my. Actually, no. It's Terminator 2 is my favorite Schwarzenegger movie, but still such a great movie. Total Recall.
It's such a departure.
Yes, I totally agree. It is a departure. Dave, number 47. Thank you for your service. Thank you for calling. Have a wonderful day. All right. You know what? We're going to take one more call for the break. Toll free Jay. Toll free Jay. How are you doing today?
It's listener number 812.
No, 812?
Yep.
812. I'm going to write that down. Is that confirmed number?
Well, that's when I asked Mike to give me a number on door, same as number on scale. So what I wanted to mention was the masterclass of broadcast yesterday for the baseball game with Joe and Ben, what they did for the afternoon baseball game. It was perfect for people who can't see. Every detail was explained verbally for the game yesterday afternoon, and it was a masterclass of listening.
Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, I mean, listening to a baseball game in the middle of summer at any point in time is such a joy. At least to me, it's just I'm glad that you got to experience fully, and it was as good for you as it was for me.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's any way you could send them emails of appreciation.
I will do my best.
If you wouldn't mind. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It was a privilege.
Okay. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right. That was great. Let's do one more call before the break. Ooh, one more call? Do I squeeze it in? Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Kyle, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on with you? What do you want to talk about today on this Talkback Hour?
I'll put a big shiny buffalo nickel that Donald Trump's not going to get a deal made with Putin. Putin's way too much more smarter than Trump. And the other thing I want to say is I don't think the world's really that much more dangerous. Look at the people that we had back in the day: John Wayne Gacy, the Green River Killer. You had those two nut jobs from St. Catharines that killed those ladies. I mean, I don't know. I hear these people all the time say, it's more dangerous now than it was back then. Well, like, I could name you probably how many people that got killed by men and women back in the day that were children that got missing, and you see those posters all the time on the back of the semi truck that say missing children or missing so and so. So I mean, I think nowadays, just like you look at airline crashes and stuff, it's not the fact that we've had those ones that have in the past. I think just the media itself, like what the access we have to our phones now, and how fast we could tweet or put something on Facebook or Twitter or any of those social media things go out much more faster than it did back in the day. Don't forget, like, even people back then had to wait for the newspaper the next day, which was 24 hours later, knowing about what happened in the world. And nowadays, it's so instantaneous where I can get an update on my phone within 2 seconds of telling me what the world's going to happen, man. So that's my take on it. I think that, yeah, sure, we have to keep an eye on children and stuff like that, but I don't think it's any more dangerous than it was 20 years ago, because look at all those people that were famous that got executed and killed for murder and all that horrible things that happened.
I mean,
that's it, Colin.
Yeah, you're talking about some prolific killers there. I mean, that's why they were they have their name the way that it's out there.
No, I know, but I mean, you hear that like they say that in Halloween, oh, you're gonna get pins and needles in your bag and stuff. Oh, it's more dangerous now than it was 20 years ago. I would beg to differ on that. I think it's just the social media side of things is a lot faster than what it was, right?
Yeah, so that's fair. That's really fair,
right?
Kyle.
I mean, I don't have any kids or anything, so I can't really give a point on it, right? But I'm just saying, like, I feel like things are much more faster, how fast we get our information compared to what it was 20 years ago when I was growing up, right? I mean, like, yeah, sure, did I go around and bike until the lights came on? Absolutely, right? But we knew somebody approached us or whatever. We knew exactly, you just go home and tell your parents right away, or you go to the closest house and you knock on their door or whatever, right? So anyways, Colin, I'll let you go. I know you're a busy man. You're a popular guy today. So anyways, thanks a lot, my friend.
Yeah, no problem, Kyle. Thanks for your phone call. And one thing to add to Kyle's thing is that, yeah, it doesn't feel more dangerous, and he talked about digitally and social media, but that is part of the danger now, where it is social media and just people can communicate with anyone at any point in time. That is part of that sphere of danger, which I know not really mentioned on walking outside and stuff and being in your community and just kind of hanging out. But, that does count, where it's like, well, maybe nothing bad outside your front door, but on your screen, there could be something lurking there too. So, dangers around every corner. Great. It's just about dealing with it and educating people to make sure that they stay safe. We are going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we got Ron and Jody and somebody else. And I still want your requests. Summer songs, summer vibe songs that you think of, or when you hear them, you're like, that is the summer song. Okay. I want them for tomorrow. Get those requests in. We'll take a quick break and we'll get back more of your phone calls. This is the Mike Farwell Show. I'm Colin Robertson on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. And for Mike Farwell, I'm Colin Robertson. Lots of topics go today, but let's hit the phones hard. Ron, how you doing, Ron?
Oh, not doing too bad. So you were, by the way, first of all, excellent song to play for the opening. It made me remember I've been meaning to watch Live and Die in L.A. again.
You're welcome.
Anyway, so you were talking about bad movies. I'm going to warn you, first of all, do not watch War of the Worlds. You will regret it as soon as you put it on.
But that's part of the fun now.
There is no fun into that. You know how a movie is so bad it's good? It is not good. It is like you watch the movie and within 3 minutes, I can guarantee you will be bored by the movie.
How much of it did you get through?
I haven't watched it. My friend warned me not to watch it. He told me how bad it was.
But this is kind of like one of the situations where, like, the frozen telephone pole, like, does it actually stick? Like, I think the danger in me watching it, like, even just for a few minutes to kind of wrap my head around it, to be like, at least I tried. Does that make any sense?
Okay. Well, if you want to put yourself through the torture, I say go for it.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But I was going to say, one of the worst movies I ever got, because I was stupid enough to rebuy this movie, and I don't know why I did it, was Darkman.
Darkman?
It came out back in the early 90s, late 80s, starring Liam Neeson. And basically, he was supposed to be a scientist who got his face deformed and his whole body got deformed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he thinks he could do revenge. Now, I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I thought, I didn't like it. But, I thought maybe a couple years later, heard it was coming out with a new Steelbook, 4K remaster from the guys over at Scream Factory. I had a few extra bucks on Scream Factory. So I said, what the heck, I'll go buy it. So I got the 4K in. I rewatched it. I'm telling you, I couldn't get through the whole movie. I got so bored by it.
Do you remember who directed this movie?
Oh, good. I don't have the movie in front of me. If I did, I could tell you right now, but I don't have it in front of me.
I know, because I looked it up, because I was like, this sounds so familiar. I've definitely watched part of this movie before, but if you can't believe it, it's Sam Raimi.
That's it, yeah. And I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what it is. That movie just,
Yeah, Liam Neeson, like Bruce Campbell's in it. Frances McDormand, like there's a good cast here.
Yeah, and just didn't do anything for me. I don't know why.
Well, I don't blame you. It's one of those things where that's the other thing about movies, right? Like you're like, oh man, like this movie seems like it should be good, but then it's not, and then you're like, okay, well, glad I just bought that again.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be returning. I'm going to be getting rid of it. Luckily, it's a Steelbook, so I'll get some good money for it back.
Well, I'm glad, Ron. I'm glad you will recoup some of your losses. Thank you for your phone call.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks. Jody, how are you doing today?
I'm not bad. How are you doing?
I'm good so far. What do you want to talk about?
A good movie I found was that I've seen more than once is The Goonies.
Oh, Goonies is such a great movie.
Yeah, and I haven't really ran into too many that I don't like because I don't get to see many movies. But the little I do get to see movies, it's pretty. Like I usually enjoy most or all of them. But
you can't think of any bad ones that you just had to turn off?
I just want to say that I want to commend these places like the Food Bank and the Salvation Army and all these places that that help low-income people with drug addiction or alcoholism or, smoking cigarettes. And they will still help if they mess up and, they give you food for a good deal and that they're really saving lives.
Yeah, no, things like that are so important to everybody in this community, whether or not they understand it or not. Jody, thank you so much for your phone call. Definitely a good shout out.
Yeah,
thank you very much for that.
Day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Yeah, totally get behind that. All those different services for people across the region. Super important. Like it's super important to donate to. Just you might be helping out your neighbor and you don't even know it. So thank you so much for that, Jody. Francis, I see you're online. We're just going to take a quick break and then we'll take your phone call. We'll be back on the Talkback. But if you want to talk about any of these subjects that we have come up today, you can call us star 570 or 519-570-2545. Francis, you hold on. We'll get to you right after this. You're watching the Mike Farwell Show. We're listening to it on the radio. I'm Colin Robertson. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Okay, I promised myself I would not get to news late this half hour. Francis, I know you're on hold, so is Jay and Andre, and we'll get to you right after this quick news break. And then we'll take more of your calls on a wide range of subjects. We got a few lines still open, star 570 if you want to call in. We can just talk about anything if you want to. Okay? Sounds good. All right. You're listening to 570 News Radio and watching on Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. And for Mike Farwell, I'm Colin Robertson. Sorry, I let that go on a little bit longer because it's a great song. Men at Work, come on. Down Under. It's a great tune. You just have to listen to it. Sometimes you get lost in it. It's no witchy woman, but definitely just something along that lines. Let's hit the phones. Francis, thank you so much for holding on. How are you doing today?
Oh, I've learned from my mother. Her name was Teresa. She says, Lord, give me patience, but please hurry.
I was going as fast as I could, I promise.
I know. I was mortified. This was a movie I took a special girl to, who is now my wife, to a movie called Deliverance.
Oh, Deliverance.
Yeah, and I tell you, you know, how do you try to put your hand or your arm around a young lady with your first or second movie and watch a movie like that?
Did you? I mean, yeah, that is tough. That's a tough watch.
Yeah, it was. And for that, I'll say God bless.
Well, thank you very much for that, Francis. Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah, that is a tough movie to take a day to for sure. That is a heavy movie for sure. Deliverance. Wow. Jay, welcome back. How's it going, Jay? Yeah, it is crazy that is the very first thing that goes into anybody's mind when it comes to Deliverance, but just because of how haunting that whole moment is and how it burns in your brain. It does not leave.
It's an earworm.
It's an earworm. That's one way of putting it, yeah.
So just ask, how long have you been on the radio now? Because I know this portion of the show used to be taken off between 12 and 1.
How long have I been on for?
This portion of the show, it used to be go off at noon hour. Now they're putting this portion on too, on the TV.
Yeah, the TV goes from 9 until 1 now. It's the full show, the full Farwell show.
When did that start?
Oh, man. I want to say 6 months?
Okay.
6 to 8 months?
Pardon my ignorance, but you should be used to it by now. Thanks for the help.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah. No, it's still a relatively new thing where the full Farwell show's on TV. Thank you very much for anybody who's watching and maybe calling in. Star 570 if you want to talk about anything that we talked about today or something maybe on your mind that you want to get off your chest. It's fine. We can do that too. Andre, welcome back. Andre, how's it going?
Hey, Colin. Well, I have to say about the movie, when I was a young teenager, and back then there was a lot of LSD on the sheet, and one of my younger friends took one, and we all ran out of the Pink Floyd, The Wall, and I never understood why, because of the chemicals, right? I still haven't tried it because I've seen other people hallucinate stuff like that. And even now with magic mushroom, right, they say that I should be on it because it's good for what I haven't on that. But like, hell no. But hey, Colin, I have to say a movie, because I like Ryan Reynolds. You know, I mean, he's on the Facebook, and I follow him as a Canadian, all that. And you know what? I'm sorry, Ryan, but the movie Buried was to me the worst effing movie to watch. Oh, I'm blind. To listen. Okay.
Buried? Is that the one where he was in that, like, the box underground? And
oh, my God. That's it. That's all the movie.
Yeah, and like, basically, it's like, how is he going to get out of that situation? I do remember that. I never saw that movie, but the second you said it, I was like, I think I know what this movie is.
Yeah. You can't forget it. Come on, my friend. Like, once he's there, it's like, okay, you know, he's got this, that, and he's got to get out of it. So you have to watch it because the actor and because of who wants to get buried like that, right?
Yeah, that is on the top 10 of no thank you list for me.
Right.
Well, thank you, Andre, for your phone call.
And I want to say, sorry, thank
That's
you
okay.
for your time, but to Mike Farwell, I heard he's at home, not at the cottage. I want to make sure that he does make his wife her first sandwich. Come on now, Mike. If you can't do it, Google it.
Oh, man. I mean, Andre, I want a sandwich. Can you make me a sandwich, Andre? I'm very hungry now. I don't know why even just the suggestion of having a sandwich makes me hungry, but it does. So I guess that's my own problem. Dallas, how you doing today? Welcome to the Talkback.
Yes, sir.
How's it going? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, first of all, worst movie I ever saw, and I hope there's a few others out there that tend to agree with me, is Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre? Oh, man, that Jack Black film is very out there, I will say.
Yeah, it was hard as far as I'm concerned.
That was like, it's weird because we went through a period of comedies where it was like, what is the craziest idea we can come up with? It was like a very short era, but it was kind of after Anchorman and everything when that exploded.
Yeah. Anchorman was bad, but Nacho Libre took the cake.
Anchorman was bad?
Well, I never really was a Will Ferrell fan.
That is true. I understand that. There are people who are very anti-Will Ferrell and don't get it. Like, don't get him, I should say, because he is an out there guy. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you love him, you love his movies. If you don't like him, you don't like anything that he's in.
Pretty much.
That's where you are with it. But Nacho Libre.
Anyway, the other thing that I would like to touch on is the first part of your show. You were talking about whether the parents should or the school board should be on the hook for supplying pens, paper, pencils, all that kind of good stuff.
Yes, the back to school required. Like, should parents be fundraising for this, or should this be? Yeah.
You know what? When I went to school, my parents went out and they bought everything I needed. And my kids, when they went to school, we went out and bought everything they needed. And as they required more through the year, we gave them more. It should not be on the school board to supply all this kind of stuff, in my opinion.
I mean, at any point, do you feel like... I mean, I get that because I went through the same thing where it's like, you buy these supplies and stuff. But, like, how much is actually needed? Let's go with that. Like, is there more of a consumption problem here where it's like, am I buying more than I need for a school year? And then also the other side of it is... there are families out there that, can't afford some things that are required by the school and able to learn. So should even just the basic stuff be provided by our school boards?
And that part I get it 100%. But yeah, okay. Well, they should have some pencils and pens and paper on hand, guaranteed, for the ones that don't have it. I mean, I'm not flush myself by any stretch. Never have been. But at the end of the day, people thinking that the school boards should be required to supply all of this stuff, no. That's just totally wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's fair, Dallas. Thank you very much for your phone call.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, there is two minds about it, where it's, it seems that every year you go out and you buy a bunch of stuff for your kid, and you try to provide them as much as they possibly can to help them in learning, but not everyone has the ability to do that. And so at some point or at some juncture, like, we need to look at, like, making sure that these kids have everything they need to be able to learn effectively. And if all these things are going to cost money to go and buy them, I mean, I'm sure there must be another way of figuring out somehow to provide kids what they actually need as opposed to want when it comes to the school. Like, I will say, like, did I need a new pair of shoes every time I start a new school year? No. Luckily, that's just something that kind of happened. I got pens and papers and erasers and all that kind of stuff. But what is actually needed for learning as opposed to, oh, I just want this. And maybe that's more of an issue as well with it. So, but the basic necessities I feel should be provided. Like pencils, paper, anything that you need or required to learn should be provided by the school. That's just the way I feel about it. But same with Dallas. He feels differently. And that's fine. We can talk about it. It's good. It's good stuff. I see Walter Grant. You're waiting on the line. I'll take your phone calls right after this quick break. You still few lines open, star 570 and 519-570-2545. If you want to get a hold, talk about some stuff. We've got lots of time still on the board here, so get your call in. And I still want those requests, okay? You have the rest of today, and you also have some time tomorrow. Summer songs, make you think of summer, make you feel summer, okay? I need them for tomorrow. I need music. Thank you. This is the Mike Farwell Show. I'm Colin Robertson, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Welcome back to the Mike Farwell Show. And for Mike Farwell, I am Colin Robertson. Lots of topics we talked about today. We had talking about the first 100 days in office for Mark Carney, how he's done with everything that's gone on around him. Back to school, parent fundraising. Should schools be providing this stuff themselves for your children to learn, or is this really on the parents? Or even privatization? I mean, I think that was really interesting when it was brought up this morning, where maybe eventually we do go down the road of, this classroom is brought to you by blank. I mean, maybe that's just where we're headed in this world completely. So talk about the stargazing around, the city and the region. And I love looking at stars, but one problem right now, of course, is a little bit of haze and a little bit of forest fires. And it kind of ruins that experience a little bit, but there are still opportunities to see some stars and the meteor shower that's coming up. And talk about some bad movies. Bad movies, good movies. You want to talk about that? You can call us right now. This is basically going to be, we got a little bit more time. We'll try and squeeze as much as we can. Walter, how's it going today?
How's it going today?
Yeah, how's it going today, Walter?
Good. Yeah, I got a couple of movies, one older one and one newer one that I personally love, and I'll tell you why. The first one, it's called The Searchers, and it stars of John Wayne.
Okay.
And I like that movie, because it's good. But also, I'm a big rock and roll fan, and in that movie, of John Wayne, he says, "That'll be the day," umpteen times in that movie, and Buddy Holly heard that, and he used that as a reference as one of his songs. I'm sure
I know that'll be the day that I die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty awesome fun fact.
Yeah, that was in 1956 that movie came out. But anyways, what the other movie is called The Outfit, and it's a newer movie, and I think it's really, really well done because it's it's suspenseful and you don't know what is happening until almost the very end, and it's a really, really good movie. And so with that actually being said, that song, I think that you're looking for, That'll Be the Day. How about that song for your list there for tomorrow?
Does that song make you think summer? Is that like a summer vibe song?
Yeah, it's a rock and roll song. Gets you up and wants a beer. Let's go.
All right. You know what, Jen? Can we put that on the list for Walter, Buddy Holly? That'll be the day. Sound good? Jen is giving me a thumbs up. So don't worry, Walter. We'll get that on for you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah. You take care, buddy. Doing a good job.
You too. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Let's get to Greg. Greg. Just right now. How's it going, Greg? If I can get you on, maybe still on hold. Uh-oh. I broke the system. Greg, are you there?
I am.
Oh my God. Greg, hi.
Hi there. I'm Greg 38 on Mike's list.
Greg number 38? Okay. Greg number 38. I'm sorry I didn't say your number.
Oh, that's fine.
Can I apologize deeply to the 38.
All good there.
What do you want to talk about, Greg?
not a major movie watcher, just being a single guy for so long, whatever. Like, I like movies, but whatever. But then, so I almost need help getting through some movies that everybody else would be following. And the one time I won a copy of a movie called Surfer Dude with Matthew McConaughey in it. And, okay, we watched it for the heck of it. And my one friend, she who watches all kinds of movies, I kept saying, I said, I'm getting nothing out of this. Am I missing something? And she says, no, you're not. So far, it's like just brutal. There's nothing. There's no plot. Like, I thought I was missing something, but she was agreeing that, no, this one's bad.
What is this, Matthew McConaughey? I mean, this sounds like a very Matthew McConaughey movie.
This is like, hey, can you float me some bills, dude? Whatever.
What's it called, Surfer Man?
Surfer Dude.
Surfer Dude. Oh, even better. Surfer Dude.
Yeah. So there's that there. And then, well, I'm not sure if it's a summer song or not, but it definitely starts that way. But Magic by the Cars starts off summer.
Oh, yeah. Magic by the Cars. Greg, Magic by the Cars.
So.
We'll hit that one tomorrow, too, then.
Yeah, through the 12 to 1 if you can, because I only can tune in then.
Okay. Greg, I will do my best to get Magic by the Cars for you, Greg, okay?
Yep.
All right.
Sounds great.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Greg. Have a good day.
Yeah. Take care.
All right. Okay. We are quickly getting to the end of this. Preston Paul. How's it going, Preston Paul?
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
All right. You see those Blue Jays scores the other night?
Like, it's the Rockies.
Yes,
but
it was.
I'm glad that the bats are there because it has been. I'm not going to lie. That Orioles series got me a little bit worried because everything just went wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
And this team has far exceeded everyone's expectations.
Oh, I agree with that. And they got a nice test coming up. I can't wait for the Dodgers series tomorrow night. Scherzer and Kershaw, first game.
Yeah, that is an unbelievable matchup. I can't believe it's the Blue Jays that have Scherzer on this one.
Yeah, well, I love Scherzer. I think he's done great for the team, even though he hasn't pitched much. I just think with his knowledge, his enthusiasm, I think he's worth every penny. So I'm looking forward for tomorrow night's game anyways. So you have yourself a great day.
Thank you very much, Paul. I totally agree with you there. I think it cannot be overstated. Max Scherzer, just having him around has probably been so helpful to just like a knowledge for pitchers and stuff, and just looking at things at the way that he does, because there's a reason why he's one of the best pitchers of all time, and it's because he knows the game. Like, having him in that dugout is definitely a boon. Just even having him around, even if he was hurt, there's just so much knowledge that, even hitters will probably get from him, looking at things a little bit differently. So, yeah, Blue Jays have been a lot of fun. I got to take a quick break, and then we'll be back here one more time before the end of the day on the Mike Farwell Show. I'm Colin Robertson, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.